I want to show you something really interesting in Photoshop right now. I want to show you how to design this particular glass morphism effect, and that is not all. The most interesting part of this tutorial is that it's going to be like a plug and play system for you, whereby if you want to design it again, you don't have to start from scratch. You just need to change the image in the design. Example, if you want to do that, you can just right click over here, double click over there and use the image I thought that you want to use. Let's say I want to use this particular image. I'm just going to drag and drop it over here, and I'll hit the check mark over here, save, Ctrl S to save. And when I come back to this particular over here, it's going to change it like this. The same way, if I decide to use any other image, I'm just going to right click, double click over there again, go pick the image that I want to use. Let's say I want to use one image. I don't know the image that I'll even use over here. Okay, so let me just pick a random image. Let's see, I want to use this particular image over here. I'm just going to drag it and drop right here. Once I've dropped it over here, I just want to scale it to fill the entire canvas. So first off, I'm going to zoom out like this and then start to scale it up to fill the canvas as I may want it. I think this is fine for me. I'm going to hit the check mark. Good, this is what we're having over here right now. What I'm going to do is just press Ctrl S, or if you don't want to press Ctrl S, you come here and go to save, and that's all. You just have to come back here, and this is what you are going to have. You just have to change the color of the things that you've written on over here. In my case, you can see I've written login form, username, password, login. Yeah, you can just quickly change the color of those things and you are good to go. So guys, let's go back and start the whole thing. So I'm going to put this off and press S so that I have the default one I did over here like this, right? So quickly, let me take you through how you can do this in Photoshop. So Ctrl N to start a new project. I'm going to use a dimension of 1920 by 1080, and I'm just going to name it glass morphism. All right, I'm just going to put it over there. So once I'm done, I'm going to leave everything over here and hit click. Create. Then I'm going to have this over here. So the first thing that I have to do is to obviously bring in my design. The image that I want to use. So I'm going to bring this particular image over here like this. Hit the check mark at the top. Once I have this, the first and foremost thing you have to do is to right click on this layer. Okay, let me come here, right click on it. Okay, once you right click on it, this is what you're going to have, right? So what you want to do is to convert it to smart objects. Now you wouldn't understand why we've converted it to smart objects right now, but at the end of the video you're going to understand why it has to be converted to smart objects first before you do any other thing. Now the next thing that you want to do is to press Ctrl plus J to duplicate the layer. So we have the down one and the top one over here, right? So once the top one is selected, what you want to do is to go to filter, then go to filter gallery. You wait for it to load. Once it loads, by default, this is how it may appear, right? So when it appears like this, you have to click on distort. Once you click on distort, you select glass. Now once you select glass, make sure your settings are over here. Distortion, I made it 5, and the smoothness, I made it 3. Then you leave everything like this. It should be unfrosted. I leave everything like this, and the scaling is also 100. Then I'm going to hit OK over here, right? Once that is done, we move on to the part 2, which is to the filter. Then we go to blur. From blur, we go to Gaussian blur. Over here, you give it a very good value that you think will help you, right? So I can push it up all the way to 24. I think that's fine. All right, the value that works for your image best, right? So I'm just going to give it, let's say 20. Yeah, I think 20 is fine. I'll hit OK. Once I'm done with that, I can just hide it over here so that you can see the main layer under it. The next thing I'm going to do is I have to select the down layer over here. As for this layer, we don't even need it again. I can just go ahead and delete it, right? So I've deleted it. This is the layer we're having right now. So once I've selected this layer, I'm going to grab my rectangle tool. Then I'm going to draw a shape right here. Okay, so once I've drawn my shape over here, I'm just manipulating it a little bit. Okay, so I'm just curving the edges, and I hope you know how to do that. If you don't want to use this dot over here, you can use this control panel over here to control the edges of your shape, right? And I hope that is pretty much easy to do. All right, so once I'm done creating that particular shape, I'm just going to make sure I have this selected. Then I'll hold on Control, then make sure I center this good over here like this. Once I have everything done like this, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to turn on this first layer like this, the blurred one. Then I'm going to right click and tap on create clipping mask. Okay, and this is what we are going to have right now. After doing that, we have to come back to this rectangle again, and now the next thing that we are going to do is to come to the function over here, select bevel and emboss. Right now, once you select bevel and emboss, this is what you start to have, right? So this is what the setting that I use for the style. You put it on inner bevel, and the technique should be smooth. The depth 100, it should be up. The size 6, softness 0, angle 90. So over here the color is white, here too is white, and yes, you can look at the highlight mode and the shadow mode. Okay, once that is done, the next thing that you have to look out to do is to give you some gradient overlay, right? Because it's important. Now the gradient overlay, you're going to leave the opacity at 40. That's right here. You're going to leave the opacity over there, and you need to fill it with the gradient. And the gradient for this second part of it, you have to make the opacity complete 0, right? So you can just click OK and you are good to go. The angle, I put it at -60. You can change it to your preference, but yeah, this is what I want to use. And mostly it depends on the image that you are using as well. So you can just decide to put it over here like mine to try it out and see if it's going to work for you before you can try to customize your personal one, right? So once we are done with this particular aspect, the next thing to do, which is the simplest, or yeah, let me just put it like that, the simplest thing is to come to the drop shadow over here. And the drop shadow, this is what I did. Okay, the distance is 85, the spread 5, and the size is 193, and the color of course is black, right? So once you have this, you know you are pretty much through with the whole process, right? So I'm just going to hit OK over here, and this is what we will be having right here. Okay, now the UI elements that I did on this particular one over here, this thing that you are seeing, the login and stuff, I used shape to form them, right? So in order not to make the tutorial that long, I have them over here. Okay, the rectangle, you can see all these things, I've drawn them and I've entered them as text. Okay, so yeah, I'm just going to turn them on back again over here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to just select all and push to the new design like this, and I'll drop them over here. So let me push it up like this. Yes, and that is it. And I hope you've learned something from this video right now. And the reason why we have to turn this layer at the beginning of the project, the reason why we have to make it a smart object is that if it is not a smart object and we decide to change the picture to a different one, the effect wouldn't take place. So right now it is a smart object. If I double click on it, it will open up in a different document over here like this, and I go ahead and select a random picture that I use. But yeah, of course, let's push in this particular image over here. Okay, and let's try to use it. So I'm going to zoom out so that I can get it to fill my entire canvas. So I'm going to rotate it this way, then I try to scale it up like this. I'm going to hit the check mark and Ctrl+S to save it. Then I'll go back here to see if it has reflected or not. Boom, voila, this is it, right guys? This is it. This is very, very simple, and I believe everybody can do it. So it's like a plug and play. Basically, you do it once and you just keep changing the images to different ones of your choice, and it's going to work perfectly. And I hope you do find this video helpful, and if you do, kindly go ahead and hit that like button on the video and subscribe for more videos. I'll see you in the next video. Don't forget to check out the video showing on your screen right now.